career. Things have gone better and better for the young Red Bull rookie as the season's gone on. Fleming now on the second row alongside Patrick Pilet, and what a turnaround he's had. Was racing for Jensen Racing early in the season, but the French-Swiss driver now on the second row for today's race, having rejoined his team, or not the same team. He didn't join the Jensen team. He's come back with the Euro International team and really created quite a stir, because I don't think anybody expected him to be as competitive as he is, but he's up there. But there is the pole position man, Felix Potiero, winner of course last time out in Estoril. There are the fans. I think well, those are either, no, they're probably for Maldonado. And there he is. Good crowd here at Monza. Hopefully going to be able to see through the mist. Maybe it'll lift for race 2. Remember, a sprint race we start off with, and then the second race, a longer race, but with that automatic pit stop within the window after 5 laps. Looking further down the grid. Patrick Pilet, we just saw a quick glimpse of there. Really excited about finishing his season on a high. Felix Potiero for the Epsilon Euskadi team has an interesting fact, actually. He's only won 2 races. Robert Kubica has won 4. And he hopes if he can win both races today, he will equal that. Adrian Valles, likewise. The young man from Alicante. It's an interesting story between the two of them on the front row. They've grown up literally together. I have Felix Potiero and Adrian Valles racing against each other, and now here they are on the front row. And behind them, as I mentioned, there is Colin Fleming, the Red Bull sponsored man. Fleming's had a pretty indifferent season. There's Patrick Pilet. Flies under the French flag, but of course is half Swiss as well. Tristan Gomedy has a chance. He's second in the championship at the moment with 90 points, 1 point ahead of Adrian Valles, and 2 ahead of Marcus Winkelhock. He has a chance to take the runner-up spot. Giorgio Mondini driving for Carlin Motorsport this weekend. Swaps teams. Mondini, the 2004 Renault V6 champion. He too has had a pretty tough season. Hopefully, now he feels as though he's got into the top team, the Carlin team, certainly one of the top teams. Epsilon, Euskadi and Carlin, definitely 2 of the most competitive teams, along with Pons. And Mondini hoping that his fortunes will turn around here in the last race. And he certainly qualified well on the 3rd row alongside Tristan Gomedy. Ryan Sharp is just behind him, then Marcus Winkelhock. Not been a good weekend so far for Marcus, but as always with him, he tends to be a better race than it is qualifying. There's Ryan Sharp, Jensen Motorsport. He too hasn't had an easy season. Done several different forms of racing. There's Marcus Winkelhock, the German. Currently lies 4th in the championship with 88 points, but could finish runner-up here. Cecil Miguez is just behind him or alongside him. The Spaniard for Pons Racing. Going back to Marcus Winkelhock, yeah, it's been a strange season. He won in France, of course, at the Mans, and also won at Donington, race 2. Milos Pavlovich had a quick chat with him this morning and was asking him just how hard it's going to be, given that they've had very little practice in these sorts of conditions. We did have a wet weather practice, but it's not either, really. It's one or the other. It's a wet track that doesn't look as though, because of the humidity, it will dry, but also doesn't look wet enough to put wets on. So, also setup, very important track to set up on. Such long straights, the exits of each of the corners, very important to get the drive, and the better possibility of overtaking, perhaps more so than anywhere else in the world, because you can slipstream here, and even if you haven't qualified as well, if you can get into a decent race position, and the race tends to do that, bunches everybody up into those first few corners, then there's every chance that you can make up places throughout the laps if you stick close to the man behind, in front of you. So that makes things for a very interesting afternoon here. It's going to be tricky, that's for sure. Danny Watts comes into the championship, one of the young Brits. We'll be looking out for him. He's qualified very well indeed, and hoping to make a name for himself and join the championship proper next year in 2006. One of the most experienced Formula 3 drivers Britain has produced, and certainly one of the most talented drivers in Great Britain. So look out for Danny Watts. He's confident about today. These are his conditions. Slightly wet, slightly damp, slightly dangerous offline. And he is a very, very accomplished driver when it comes to these sorts of conditions. And I think that's the beauty of this afternoon here at Monza. We've got one of the toughest tracks, but also some of the toughest conditions, because it's not wet, it's not dry. And this is where you've really got to use your head. Getting offline is fine if you're going for overtaking, but on slicks, on a wet track, you've got to be oh so careful under braking. It changes everything. Quick handshake. Colin Fleming, the American from Southern California, preparing himself for the last race weekend here of the World Series by Renault. And what a cracking year it's been. A few teething problems as the teams got used to the new car. A few gearbox problems early on. But everything's sorted out, and by all accounts, for a debut season, it's been phenomenal. We've had some superb driving. We've got a fantastic opportunity for a young champion in Robert Kubica, who will, of course, because he's won the championship, get a chance to race a Formula 1 car, or at least test a Formula 1 car on December 2nd. So Poland awaits that, and what an exciting prospect for motor racing in general that we could see finally a Polish driver in Formula 1. Motorsport, unknown in many ways, or this form of motorsport. The only real motorsport in Poland is speedway, and that's very popular. Tomasz Golob, perhaps the top sports star in Poland after the footballers, and the footballers pretty much are the most popular sportsmen in Poland. But Robert Kubica is starting to make his name without a doubt. He held a press conference in Warsaw the other week, and he did the same thing a few years ago. 15 journalists showed up. Well, last week, 80 journalists showed up. So interest is gaining. And Daniel Morelli, his manager, is looking to gain sponsorship for Robert. And it really is a fairy tale story. He's one of the few drivers that you can fairly say that no special name, no big money. He's just got raw talent, and that's been noticed by the men that have believed in him, like his manager and the Epsilon Scout team. So credit to all of them for seeing that talent. I saw him race in Macau last year, and that street circuit in Formula 3 is probably one of the toughest circuits in the world. And Kubica was, well, not in a class of his own, but certainly shining from nowhere. He'd been in the Euro Series and really hadn't done much in an uncompetitive team, and then he jumped in. And once again, he's going back to Macau this year as well. He'll be driving for the Mana team. They too have had success at Macau, so it could be a very exciting end of the year for Robert Kubica. And of course, after Macau, comes straight back for that F1 test in the R25 Renault Formula 1 car, which of course is celebrating the fact that it's now a world champion in its own right. Renault winning the championship with Fernando Alonso. This afternoon is all about creating the next Fernando Alonso. We head off now on the warm-up lap. We'll get a good opportunity to see the conditions here at Monza. It's the last weekend of the World Series by Renault, and this massive field peels off on the formation lap. And this is a very important lap, because all of the drivers now have to start thinking about the temperature of those tyres, whether they've chosen the right tyres or not, and how they're going to approach and attack the first corner here, which is a long, long straight down to the first chicane. Here it is, Verante Prima, and it really is a logjam in there. But you've got to be careful to stay out of trouble, but also not lose 14 places by being cautious. Now, temperature in the tyres, important here, especially on these long straights. You've got to get up to temperature quickly here in these wet conditions, because those that use the first few laps, well, are going to have a chance of winning this race. Remind you of the grid again. Felix Pottiero of Spain in pole position with a 1:36.3, and he was a long way ahead in terms of time. Baez, tough competitor. Baez, of course, going for second in the championship. Behind them, Colin Fleming looking for his second podium of the season. Really keen to do it here at Monza. Then Patrick Pilet, who's got his own story. Coming back into the championship at Estoril. Didn't do much there, but he's flown in qualifying here. He lines up on the second row. Then Tristan Gomondy, he too can go. Frenchman for second overall. He will be going from the third row, 1:36.8. So he was only 5 tenths off pole time of Felix Portiero, and that really is negated in race terms, especially in these conditions. And in fact, that's the irony. Everything that's gone on in qualifying really doesn't matter a jot at this point, because the conditions are such that the whole setup of the car is different. Massive track this, over 5 kilometers. That's quite tricky. Long straights out into the back of the Monza. Beautiful setting for a motor race. As I said, they've been racing here since 1922. Not exactly on the same track, but on a lot of it. It used to be the old oval circuit, which goes off into the woods. You can still see it today. But it's steeped in history, and all the drivers, young as they are very much aware of how important Monza is on the world map of motor racing. One around, inside. Meets the Italians that come out in their droves to watch this, misty or not. And it is the strongest conditions of October here for this season. Bright sunshine and 25 degrees early in the weekend. Now it's almost as though it's nightfall, but it's not. Just before midday here, and there is your starting grid. Felix Portiero of Spain, alongside fellow Spaniard Adrian Valles, Colin Fleming of the United States, Patrick Pilet, Tristan Gomondy going for second place, Mondini with Carlin Motorsport. Helpful that he's got that improvement. Sharps just behind him, Celso Miguez and Milos Pavlovic of the Czech Republic, Kubica, Rigon, Passini, Meneghello in 14th position, Jaap van Lagen struggling in 15th, Danny Watts, there he is, watch out for him, making his debut, Eric Salignon 17th, Monfandini, Fukuda, Tedeschi the Italian in 22nd place, Maldonado is back, it's good to see him back, Iaconelli making his debut, the young Brazilian who's come up from the Formula Renault series, and Mehdi Benani of Morocco is at the back, but making a name for Moroccan motorsport for sure. We're about to get underway for the first of 2 races here this weekend. Watch out for the 2 Spaniards on the front row, Portiero and Valles, and that all-important first corner. Colin Fleming, watch for him, the Red Bull man going round the outside perhaps. But also watch out for Kubica, who has won the championship, but he wants to finish on a high. He didn't qualify as well as he'd liked, got balked in qualifying when a red flag situation stopped him from getting in. He had to make a few adjustments and didn't get the qualifying time he wanted, so Kubica's going to have to come through the field, but he'll need a good start. The conditions are tricky. It's a wet line. They are on slick tyres. It's going to be an interesting start to this one. Misty conditions here at Monza, but the magnificence of Mount Monza is shining through as these young stars of Formula One to be are away, and a good start from Portiero. Excellent start from pole position. Away goes Felix, down towards Prima Verante for the first time. Marcus Winkelhock already getting in a battle there, almost touching wheels, but managing to go through. Some people locking up early on. Marcus Winkelhock, just missing out. Colin Fleming slots into third place, and it's as per qualifying for the top 3. Portiero, Valles, and Fleming go through. Somebody else going across part of the rumple strips there. That's not the track, but it looks as though everyone's safely through. So a good cautious start by the leaders. And already Portiero is starting to build on that lead. Fleming slots into third place. And that's Robert Kubica trying to go around the outside. Portiero, Valles, Fleming, PA. Sharp got up to 5th place. Gomondy 6th. Miguez, Kubica in 8th position. Pavlovic 9th. Winkelhock 10th. So Winkelhock's lost out of the starters there early on. Van Lagen there. There is Kubica going through. But Portiero's got a flying start here as the leaves fall down here at Monza in the misty conditions. Out of the second chicane they come. And towards Lesmo 1 for the first time, or out of Roger Verante for the first time, Portiero, Valles and Fleming, as it was in qualifying. Sharp up to 4th place, PA's dropped to 5th, Gomondy 6th, Miguez, Kubica, Pavlovich, 9th, and Winkelhock still holding on to 10th place. Andreas Zuber, winner last time out in Estoril, but not doing so well here this afternoon. The young Austrian with work to do for the Carling Motorsport team. There's Robert Kubica, number 8, trying to get through the field. He started on the 6th row, remember. And across the line they come then to complete the first lap. Portiero does a 1:51.1, but those times will drop. He's building on that lead ahead of Vaez. Sharp is up to 3rd, so it's Sharp doing all the work at the moment. And Ryan Sharp looking to finish his season on a real high here. Not been an easy season for the Englishman, or the Scotsman. And he really wants to do something here, as do all the drivers. It's that time of the year. The old adage that you're only as good as your last race is very, very true, especially for this shop window to Formula One. That's what all these guys are all about. And it's a great opportunity to shine. Fukuda not shining at all, though, down in 22nd place. We expect more from Rui. He's got plenty of experience. Tedeschi, just behind him, hasn't got the experience. It's all going on, isn't it? Good battle here at the front. And already, Vaez has taken a few chunks out of that gap that he had. And Sharp got away well. Fleming's the one that's had a problem. He's down to 5th now. Colin Fleming did a 1:53.6, but Sharp is the man on the move. And you can see him there in 3rd place. Behind him, Patrick Piet is right there. Then comes Fleming, then comes Gomendi. Kubica is up to 8th position at the moment, just ahead of Pavlovich, and Winkelhock still 10th. So the battle for 2nd overall in the championship at the moment being won by Adrian Vaez in 2nd place here. But look at this battle as Piet looking for a chance round there. The French-Swiss is really pushing hard now. Ryan Sharp in 3rd has done all the work to get up there, but now look at Piet all over him. Across the line they come. Here's another look at the start. Good start from all the top leaders. And real battle, and Patrick Piet comes past. As we're taking a look at a replay and just past our commentary position, Patrick Piet has gone into 3rd position. A great overtaking manoeuvre as he got into the slipstream there early on. And now we have a change as Ryan Sharp drops down to 4th, ahead of Colin Fleming and Gomendi in 6th place. Meanwhile, Portiero is not giving anything to Vaez, and Vaez is really pushing hard. He's lost that gap, and look at Sharp. He's already caught up as they head out into the forest again. Into 3rd gear through here. Varante della Roggia back on the power, and the key here. Oh no! I was just about to say the key is the power on the exit, and that is absolute travesty. That is Ryan Sharp, and having done so much and got right up there to top 3, he's out of this one. Look what happened. Wet conditions, slightly offline, power on too early, actually just touched the white part, the rumple strip there, which is very wet, and this is why I said it was going to be tricky. Really no fault of Ryan's at all. Just got on the power slightly earlier than perhaps he wanted, and that's how Monza can catch you out. Meanwhile, Patrick Piet has caught right up now with Adrian Vaez. And this battle for the top 3 is really hotting up. Felix Portiero doing a very good job out front. They've got to be so careful. Exiting Ascari, down towards the Parabolica, up to 5th gear here, flat out, almost 200 miles an hour. Not quite, as Piet starting to peel off almost as they go into Parabolica. Patrick Piet trying, if he can, to get on level terms with Adrian Vaez. There's Adrian's board, P2. And across the line come the leaders, and they are building a lead of some 4 seconds now ahead of Colin Fleming in 4th place, and Gomendi just behind him. Kubica comes across the line in 6th place. Pavlovich is 7th. Winkelhock now up to 8th place. But the top 3, that's the battle for the podium, and they have a 4-second gap now as they head out back into the woods here at Monza. No walk in the Parco di Monza this afternoon. Fastest lap, Patrick Piet, 1:48.8. And just to give you an example, in the dry conditions, they were doing 1:36s. There's somebody spinning heavily. Ooh, and just avoiding him. Looks like Andreas Zuber getting out of the way there. Avoiding action, but again, the slippy conditions catching a few drivers out, but not the top 3. Doing a very good job, and they are in a battle of their own in the top 3. Fleming in 4th place has got his own work to do with Gomendi and Kubica in 6th place. Pavlovich still 7th. Winkelhock 8th. Remember, the battle between Gomendi Winkelhock and Valles for second place as somebody else spins. But luckily gets back out on track. That looks like one of the Carlin boys. Is that Mondini? Oh, no, he got tapped. Not good news at all, and that puts him right out into the gravel. That was Mondini. So, Giorgio Mondini, who qualified very well, stuck in the gravel at the moment, having been nerfed off the track. Now, the question is, this makes it so hard. You can see the spots of rain on the camera, so it's still sort of drizzling out there as well. And although there is a bit of a dry line, there's not much. You can see us starting to get a dry line here. And here comes Valles now on his old former mate from Valencia and that part of Spain. He's from Alicante, and Portiero from Valencia. They've raced each other a million times, growing up together, going toe to toe. I asked Felix who was the faster of the two, and he said, just showed me the timesheets, and he said, me, of course. And certainly he was in qualifying yesterday, but you can see here in the race it's a different thing. Winkelhock up to 7th now. Maldonado, 10th position. Salignon, Eric Salignon in 12th at the moment. Van Lagen in 15th. Danny Watts down in 19th at the moment. And learning his way. Tedeschi just behind here. There is Danny Watts, 19th. Iaconelli from Brazil. Antonuzzi, Richard Antonuzzi, welcome him, the American, into the championship as somebody jumps across the gravel trap there. Another car being pulled away off track. Good marshalling here at Monza as always. And back off into the woods they go. This track seems to go on forever. But the tricky part for Adrian Valles now is where and when. There is no dry line at this time, and therefore he's just got to wait, because if he gets off into the slippy part of the track, and we've seen it happen already, as he exits Ascari, if you try to go up the inside, for example, coming into Parabolica here, it's going to be very wet just off this line, and he's having a look now, but deciding to stay right behind Felix Portiero of Epsilon Ascari. Patrick Pilet in 3rd place. And so Valles has got to really wait for his moment. And the best chance is here. If he can get a slipstream, get right behind Portiero here. He's just not close enough as they come past the front straight again. Portiero a 145.5 and Valles just 0.2 off there. And that's perhaps the gap between them. PA in 3rd place with a 145.8. So not a great deal between the top times of the top 3. Then Gomondy in 4th. Winkelhock now 5th. So the battle now for the overall 2nd place in the championship hotting up as Gomondy goes up to 4th and Winkelhock's right there with him, just a second behind him on track. But Valles is certainly winning it at the moment. 2 races this afternoon, remember, and so still another possibility and another chance for either Valles, Winkelhock or Gomondy to steal that runner-up spot. But the top 3 pulling away now. They are 7 seconds ahead of Gomondy, so they pulled a 7-second gap. 5 of the 16 gone, and at the moment it's as we started, but Valles is just waiting for his moment. The young Spaniard, just 19 years of age, really making a name for himself. 2, ooh, somebody in trouble. Damage to the rear, and there are spots of drizzle down, and I wonder if as Maldonado, the man who was banned for 4 races after Monaco, that incident at Monaco, back in the championship. Oh! That's Kubica out of the race with a champion. I can't think whose fault that was. That's going into Lesmo 1, and he was very close, but the champion is beached. So the pole will wait for the next race, but it doesn't really matter. He already had a 54-point lead going in to the start of today, so was already champion. Across the line they come, and there it says +0 to Adrian. He doesn't need to see that. He knows how close he is. But he might be told just how close PA is, because look at Patrick PA coming up now to try and go into 2nd place. He comes alongside Portiero, and he's almost going to have a go at Portiero going into there, but he's got 2nd place, and I think that in some ways Valles was caught napping a little bit. You saw his board say Adrian +0, and he didn't need that because he can hear the difference, but he was concentrating on Felix Portiero. And then suddenly, Patrick PA, who is desperate for victory, spoke to him earlier in the weekend, and he really has come from nowhere. He had to sit at home, agonizingly for 3 months, having been dropped by the Jensen team, and waited for his time, waited for his opportunity. It came along at Estoril, didn't do anything there, and this weekend, he has been sensational. Just seems to suit the circuit, the setup, the team. He's got used to it, they've got used to him, and at the moment, he is flying. Last race of the season, somebody else out and looking low. He's stalled. They'll need to push him out the way fairly quickly. If he can get that going, he has got it going. Spin it round. That's not Milos Pavlovic, I can assure you. And in fact, it's Fernando Reis. Well, several drivers getting in all sorts of bother. Into Parabolica they go then. 6 of the 16 completed, and it's not over by any means. But the gap now has spread out between the top 3. Since that change of position with Patrick Piet, Valles has dropped back a bit. And Valles is still getting +0. Not a great deal between them. It's a little bit more than +0 though, because the gap between Portiero and Valles now just over a second. But Felix Portiero really doing a good job. He told us yesterday, before qualifying, I am going to get 2 pole positions, and he went out and did it. So very confident words from the young Spaniard, but that's the way it is, and certainly feels that if he can get 2 wins today, even though he's nowhere in the championship because he had a bit of an inconsistent year, he will equal Robert Kubica's 4 wins. He's also got more pole positions. Robert Kubica has 3, and now Portiero has 4, so he almost takes a moral victory in his eyes, but that's the way racing drivers think. He may not win the championship, but if he gets the most wins and the most pole positions over his teammate, then he can take a little bit of a moral victory. Portiero, Pilet, Valles, and Winkelhock, Gomendy, Fleming. Fleming, having started so well, has dropped down to 6th place now. Celso Miguez is 7th. Yellow flag at turn 5. And a drive-through penalty for Colin Fleming, by the look of things. So Fleming in trouble. Don't know what he did. The Red Bull man will be coming in by the looks of things. There is Danny Watts, number 1. His first outing in the championship. He has tested the car a few times, but this is a real baptism of fire. They called him on Tuesday and said, right, you're in the car. And he's up to 13th place already. Brilliant drive from Danny Watts. He's had a few races in Asia, in the Porsche Infineon Carrera Cup Asia, where he was a guest driver and was immediately snapped up by the Noble Group, who've now sponsored him, and hoping to take him to this championship next year, and he'll be a real asset. As we take a look at the fastest lap by Markus Winkelhock, a 1:43.6. The German, as you can see, out of Volante Prima, really putting down the power early, and it's starting to dry out now. We're starting to get that dry line, and the times are starting to drop. The average is 1:44, but Markus Winkelhock in the 1:43s at the moment. Going very wide and high there. Felix Portiero using all the track now and starting to build on that lead. He has a 1.1 second lead now over Patrick Pilet of France. And then in 3rd place, it's Adrien Valles. And you can see how hard the top 3 are working. And Valles is really struggling now to keep up with the top 2. He's now 2 seconds adrift. Winkelhock has gone from 10th to 4th. He is flying at the moment, and the German tends to do this in every race. Of course, won in Donington Park, and he won at Le Mans. Currently 4th in the championship with 88 points. And he's almost a second faster than anybody out there at the moment. Out of Parabolica again then, comes the leader, Portiero. 8 of the 16 completed. 0.3 the gap between Portiero and Pilet is looking as though he's winding himself up for a manoeuvre. Pilet trying desperately to win his first race of the season. He's hardly been around. Portiero, though, is going for his record. He wants 2 in a row, so that will change his plans. Winkelhock 4th, Gomendy and Fleming. Fleming, though, with that drive-through penalty in 6th. Miguez is 7th. Salignon up to 8th now. Rigon 9th. Peño, Van Lagen, Monfadini in 12th place, and then Danny Watts in 13th place. A great job done by Danny Watts. In his first race, making his debut, remember. Now, the question is, where does Patrick Pilet go for a manoeuvre here? He's got to be careful, because so far, Portiero has not put a foot wrong, but Pilet is putting pressure on him. Look at that, 1:42.5, and as this track dries out, the lap times are flying down. We've lost a second from the previous lap. And Valles just can't keep on this pace at the moment. So we're going to see how good Felix Portiero really is now. Look at him pushing hard, using all the track out of Ascari. You can do it there, but it is slippy. Headed towards the Parabolica again. And this, the long right-hander that seems to go on forever. Only one line through there, no overtaking, but the idea is you nudge yourself as close to the back end of the man in front. And unfortunately, Pilet is not close enough as they cross the line again to complete lap 10 of 16. A three-way battle, as it has been throughout the race, between Portiero, Pilet and Valles. Fleming had been up there, but he's dropped back. Winkelhock has gone from 10th to 4th place. Gomondy just behind him. Patrick Pilet now has to build himself up. The gap was half a second, but these two have left Valles, who is now 2 seconds. There's the gap between Pilet. Well, it's 1.4, it says there officially. Let's time it now. It's 1.7, so there you go. Pilet has done a very good job of staying and sticking with Portiero, and Valles can't stick with him. Meanwhile, you can see Winkelhock, the all-yellow car of Winkelhock. He just did a 1:41.6. So watch out, Marcus Winkelhock. Here are the top three. Here is Winkelhock. There you see it. And Winkelhock is flying at the moment. That's Damien Passini getting in trouble there. But we are about to see a four-way battle now for the podium. Marcus Winkelhock is flying at the moment. He is currently 8 seconds down on Portiero, but is making up a second a lap. And there he is. You can see him in the distance. Oh, what a shame. Oh, and that was not Fleming's fault by the looks of things. Colin Fleming taken out there by, it looks like Andreas Zuber. Colin Fleming, who already got the drive-through penalty, not a good start to his day. Such high hopes having started on the second row. Cross the line they come. Less than 5 laps to go, and Portiero doesn't need to look in his mirrors because Pilet is there. He's not going to make... Oh, no! The first mistake Portiero makes, and he won't get the drive, surely. This is a great opportunity for Patrick Pilet. And a big mistake from Felix Portiero, and around the outside comes Pilet, but he's holding as well. It's Portier, he's holding on. Portiero did a terrible first corner at Prima Verante. Well, that's amazing. Felix Portiero made the biggest mistake he's made all season, having started brilliantly, and somehow escaped. Because having gone across the gravel there, he lost all the drive, and it's so important. The exits with such long straights are so important out of each corner that he had no chance to defend himself, but somehow managed to hold off Patrick Pilet, who tried round the outside, couldn't do it. That's allowed Valles to catch up, but Winkelhock's still on the move, and Winkelhock last time did a 1:40.7. Here it comes, Patrick Pilet again. I'm looking up the inside this time. No, Portiero says no their way. Great racing, great conditions for racing, because there's only one dry line, and if you go off that to overtake, it gets slippy. Valles now back in the battle, but Winkelhock, there he is in the background, in the mist. Well, it's going to be a guerrilla-like fight from these gorillas in the mist in the moment, because Winkelhock, the German, is about to join them, and of course he can get second in the championship. A 1:40.7 he just did. Very impressive driving. Some drivers like the wet, some don't. Interestingly enough, talking to Felix Portiero, he hates the wet, and he says that the wet is the main reason he hasn't been so well in the championship. Into the pits then. It's not a planned operation. Mondini comes in, and he's changing his tyres, so he obviously chose the wrong tyres early on. Quite an attrition rate here, allowing Danny Watts to get up to 12th place, just ahead of him. Simon Paganio. Van Lagen now 9th. There's the last lap. Pilet 143.2, Valles 142.2. So Valles joining back the battle and trying to hold off Winkelhock. Here he is. Winkelhock, the fastest man out. They're a 141.8 last time out. And that compares to Portiero's 143.3. And Portiero's got to be so careful now. He's made one major mistake. Look how wide Winkelhock gets there as he heads out of Lesmo 2. Under the bridge and up the hill. Into Ascari. The gap was 0.9. It's now 0.8. And really nothing between the top three. And now starting to catch up with the back markers as they head towards Parabolica. And this could be important. Mehdi Banani is in front of him, the Moroccan. And he'll be right in their way when they come to Parabolica. And that's a real problem. Damien Passini out of this one. And out of the car. We'll see his tyres. He chose wet tyres and almost completely shredded. Now let's see where the leaders come. Mehdi Banani still in front of the leaders as they head towards the first corner, and that could be critical as they're going to get there before he does almost. And they may have to wait. Now there's a good opportunity with the exit of Prima Verante with Mehdi Banani in the way. 3 laps to go. Who's going to get the power down early? Pilet looking for his opportunity. Goes round the outside. Or all of them go around the inside, I should say, of Mehdi Banani. The Moroccan getting out of the way. But Winkelhock is caught right up with them. There he is in the distance. Prima Verante. They exit that. And now they've exited in third gear. Verante della Roggia and head towards Lesmo 1. Very fast through here. Exiting there very fast, making sure you don't take too much of a wide line. Winkelhock choosing a slightly less wide line than he did last time, but still flat out at the moment. 140.8. He's the fastest man and has been. There's the gap. It was 3.2. It's now, well, it's still 3.2. So he's taken less than 100th last time out. But you can see as he exits Ascari and heads down towards Parabolica. Look at Patrick Pilet, and he looks for his chance. This could be where the race is won and lost. Up the inside of Parabolica, a superb manoeuvre. That was excellent textbook racing from the man from France. Patrick Pilet, who's come from nowhere, 3 months off, and he's not rusty at all. Brilliant manoeuvre, and he takes the lead as they cross the line with 2 laps to go. What a manoeuvre. What a race. Portiero was not caught napping by any means. He was doing everything. He was on the right line. And Portiero... Oh, no! And just as I say brilliant things about Pilet, he ruins it, spins at the first corner, just what Portiero had done. That will be agonising. What a way to go, having just taken the lead. Portiero puts a bit of pressure on. He goes too hot in the first corner, did exactly what Portiero did, but got away with it the lap before. What a race. And Valles isn't over yet, by any means. Valles could win this race. Wouldn't that be amazing? Adrian Valles takes the lead. Here is the leaders coming in. Patrick Pilet just couldn't get it turned in. It's a very tight corner, that. He went too hot, then it spun round. He kept on the power, tried to spin it round, couldn't do it. What a shame. And amazingly, out of that has come Adrian Valles, the young man from Alicante, takes the lead. And Valles, who of course is second, or third in the championship at the moment, but going for second overall, having taken a podium in Portugal and a victory in Great Britain at Donington Park, and also victory at Le Mans, remember. That's Winkelhock I'm talking about. Winkelhock's not out of there. He's going for a podium. So Winkelhock and Valles with a real great opportunity. Valles did win at Donington Park, but that's his only win. And a great opportunity now. What an amazing race. So many drivers. I thought Felix Portiero was going to do this, but he's not. And across the line they come then, and Valles leads from the Epsilon Ascari man. And it's the last lap now. Winkelhock. Cross the line again. He was only 2/10 quicker than Valles, so Adrian Valles has quickened it up. There is Winkelhock really doing everything he can, but I don't think it's going to be enough on this last lap. But he is going to take runner-up spot to Valles, and that means that the battle for second overall will continue. Gomondy will be 5th, and he'll still be in it because, of course, he was 2nd with 90 points, so he'll pick up a few points for 5th place. PA has dropped down to 4th place. Gomondy, 5th. Salignon, Miguez, Regan, Van Lagen. And the top 10 rounded out by Monfadini. So, not over yet, but Valles has done everything right. He just waited for his chance. The other two made mistakes. And what an opportunity. Winkelhock really pushing now. Down the hill they come for the last time at Monza. The last weekend of racing in the World Series by Renault. And it's going to be the young Spaniard. We thought it was going to be the young Spaniard, Felix Portiero, but it's the other. Adrian Valles, who started on the front row, waited for his opportunity. He dropped down to 3rd place and was 2 seconds adrift at one point, but has waited for his moment. The other two made mistakes, and that just allowed Valles to get through. He hasn't actually, to be fair, made as many mistakes, and that's why the man 3rd in the championship will now go 2nd. He had 89 points. He's going to go in front of Tristan Gomondy, and Adrian Valles does it for Spain here in the World Series. What a race! He beats Portiero, fellow Spaniard. What a shame for him. And Winkelhock will take 3rd. Well, Felix Portiero will be distraught with anger, I'm sure, because it was really his race. But the man most upset must be Patrick Piet. He'll take 4th overall, but that'll be no consolation not to get on the podium when he deserved in very strong terms to get there. Gomondy will be 5th, Salignon 6th, Miguez, Regan, Van Lagen 9th, Monfradini is in 10th place, Pagano 11th, Montanari 12th, and Danny Watts in his debut taking 13th place. Can be pleased with that. But that was a race that had everything. Portiero leading for so long, making one mistake, allowing Patrick Pilet to be the leader, but then Pilet threw it away the following lap with exactly the same maneuver, going too hot. We've seen it so many times at Prima Verante. It's the prima place to make a mistake, and that's exactly what happened to both Pilet and Portiero. And waiting in the wings was this man, Adrian Valles, for Pons Racing, and a great victory for them. And you've got to take your hat off to Adrian Valles. It's his 2nd win of the year. He's had podiums as well at Donington and Valencia, and now goes to 2nd in the championship with one race to go. Valles putting himself with the Pons team with the opportunity of taking 2nd overall. Adrian Valles then ahead of Portiero, who had been pole. Marcus Winkelhock, a brilliant job from 10th to 3rd. Patrick Pilet will have to settle for 4th place. Eric Salignon taking 6th. Celso Muguez 7th. David Rigon of Italy in Victory Racing. Giovanni Tedeschi 14th place. Matteo Pellegrino in 15th. Montanari. Richard Antonuzzi makes his debut for Victory Engineering. Good to see the American in the championship. Rui Fukuda 18th. Good result for Ivan Bellarosa of Avalon Formula in 17th. Definitely man of the moment, though, Marcus Winkelhock. We didn't get to see all of his battle, but fastest lap of 1:40.090, and he did an awesome job. Battling on his own from 10th place, didn't get the best of starts. You saw him getting bulked at the start, and he started from the 4th row and just couldn't make that first corner. That dropped him all the way down to 12th. He made it up to 10th place, and then battled all the way to 3rd. But Adrian Valles, well, you've got to take your hat off to him. He did exactly what he should do in these conditions, wait for his chance, and it came. Didn't put a foot wrong, and to be fair, if mistakes are what it's all about when it comes to racing, this man didn't make any. So Pons Racing, Cito can be well pleased with the young Spaniard, and it really is a battle of wits between Felix Portiero and Adrian Valles, because they both want to be the next Fernando Alonso, but they can't both be. Kubica then, 154. Adrian Valles now 2nd with 104. And he moves ahead of Tristan Gomondy. Andreas Zubert still 6th in the championship. Will Power has moved off to America and left the Carling team. And that allows Mondini to come in. So it's all hotting up nicely, and there is another race to come this afternoon. That will be a pit stop race, a longer race of 23 laps. And the championship for the runner-up spot, anyway, is not over by any means. But Adrian Valles has done just what he needed to do by winning this race and moving to second overall in the championship. Gomondy with work to do, and Winkelhock doing enough to stay in contention. Great start to the afternoon. It might be a little misty here at Monza, but I would have thought Adrian Valles might just be a little bit misty-eyed on the podium after that one. Gifted victory by the two in front, but he'll take it any which way, and he could take the runner-up spot. So, and in terms of the teams, Epsilon Iscardi 221, Draco Multi Racing USA 151, KTR, Kurt Molliken's team in third place. So the team's championship pretty much over, but the drivers not in the least. One more race to come then, and hopefully the conditions will have improved here at Monza. The mist will move away, let's hope. We'll get a dry line and some cracking racing for the last race of the World Series by Renault in its debut season. And what a season it's been. Join us for the next one in a moment.